Well, she used to take my phone when I was in middle school and go through it, so.
How often?
And in high school.
How often?
Very often.
Sometimes our closest relationships are the toughest ones. We're about to unpack the most defining relationship of our lives. I'm Kat Takahashi, and today's episode of Split Decision is about mothers and daughters. Can mothers and daughters ever truly be friends? Let's see how close you really are. Are you ready, everybody?
Yes!
Let's do this. I feel responsible for your happiness. Make your split decisions in 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and turn around. Rachel, let's start with you. You feel responsible for your mother's happiness?
We're very connected to each other, and I think we've talked about when she feels sad, I feel sad. When she's happy, I'm happy.
Artista, you feel responsible for your daughter's happiness?
I do, and I'm really happy you don't feel responsible for mine. I just think that it's my daughter is my total sunshine. All she has to do is exist, and it makes me happy, and I don't know why that is.
Now, us four at the end here, we say we don't feel responsible for happiness.
I hope I have taught you everything you need to be responsible for your own happiness. That's super important to me. And if you're looking to me to help you feel better or expect that I should, what are you gonna do when I'm gone? I want you to focus on your own life. I believe you are your own being. I believe you passed through me to be your own person, and I want to facilitate that.
I feel like I do want to contribute to her happiness, but.
And you do.
But us as her children shouldn't be the sole source. So you have to find it from, she always taught us that you have to find it from within yourself. So obviously I want to contribute to your happiness, not detract from that.
I'm just not comfortable with the emotional part. And you know that. When you and I get together and we talk about things, we cry together, it's very personal. But as far as her happiness, no, I do not feel responsible for Heather's happiness. The goal in raising her was go live your life. And I am here for everything.
I feel like they raised us to be really independent and to do what we want. And so I have respect, but ultimately I'm gonna do what I want. It's my life, not theirs. If it comes down to just me doing something that feels authentically aligned with myself, or keeping my parents happy with how I'm living my life, I'm almost always gonna choose what I wanna do.
I may not like all of her decisions. It may just crush me, but we did our job, and I am so proud of that.
Being the eldest daughter can be so annoying and stressful at times. When my 10 sisters and 5 brothers drive me up the wall with their problems, I usually have no one else to turn to. Thankfully, I found that seeing a therapist has helped me work on setting the right boundaries. I've actually found the perfect therapist for me through BetterHelp, the sponsor of this video. At just a click of a button, BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who is trained to give you helpful, unbiased advice. To get started, all you have to do is visit betterhelp.com/jubileemedia to fill out a few questions, and you'll be matched with a professional therapist, usually within 48 hours.
Hey, sis, you forgot to mention to them that they can actually choose how they want to meet with them, whether it's through a phone call, video chat, or through messaging if they're not in the mood to talk.
What are you doing here?
Have you seen me homework? Let BetterHelp connect you to a therapist who can support you, all from the comfort of your own home. Visit betterhelp.com/jubileemedia or choose Jubilee Media during sign-up and enjoy a special discount on your first month.
Thank you to BetterHelp for supporting this channel. I told you it was ad day.
Yeah, but I had to make sure that you got your lines right. I'm just looking out for you, sis.
Thank you to BetterHelp for supporting this channel. Now get out of here.
All right, jeez.
Wait, you forgot your lunch.
You have invaded my privacy. Make your split decisions in 3, 2, 1. All right, go ahead and turn around.
I knew that.
Mothers say no, but we got some privacy invasions up here on this side. Okay, Taya, so you felt like your mother has invaded your privacy.
Well, I know for sure that there's some Snapchat pictures and memories that you've seen behind my back.
I put spyware on all my children's phones.
Ah,
I
put
sure
spyware.
did. I sure did. You know that software that they're like, do you think your boyfriend's cheating on you? Yeah, I put it on all the phones. I put it on all the internet connections in my home, all the computers.
So you know like every website?
Every single text, every single picture, every single call, every single email.
So daughters, would you be okay with your mom looking at your emails and texts and snaps?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, I really don't like that feeling in my body. It's making me feel like my tummy is feeling weird. It's just, I don't know. Like location, I'll take that. Just like for safety, for sure. Text and stuff like that, I don't know. I just gotta feel safe somewhere. Even when I'm writing in my journal, I'm thinking about how, oh, after I die, someone's gonna read this one day. And it freaks me out. And like, it makes me wanna hold back and not say like my weirdest intrusive thoughts. And so to imagine someone like having access to that without me giving that to them freaks me out.
Well, the question was asked when she was younger. Would you ever read my diary if you ever found it? Absolutely not. I, as a parent, I feel it's my responsibility to give them that space. I want them safe, absolutely. And you remember that time you were talking to somebody on,
Yes.
What happened?
When I was like 6, I was on MSN Messenger, messaging some friends, and a random person started messaging me. And we started getting along, and they said something like, okay, well, I'll pick you up. I have a green car. We can go get some ice cream or something. And you know, my mom has taught me so much about stranger danger, and also by this point I knew better, but I went upstairs to go get change and my whole family was waiting for me. My brother had changed his name on MSN to like lure me into that situation to see how I'd react. And I was like, oh, I was just coming up to put my socks on to go play with the dogs. I wasn't going. And they're like, we saw the messages. So that I appreciated.
Yeah.
And Izzy, I want to know, why are you standing on yes?
I knew you were gonna come to me. I know, I was like making eye contact, and I saw her looking at me too. Well, she used to take my phone when I was in middle school and go through it, so.
How often?
And in high school.
How often?
Very often. And my iPod Touch, so I had to text people from my iPod Touch and then delete them when I'd be talking to my boy. And I would literally say, "Oh, sorry, my mom's about to I'm about to look through."
Oh, so it would happen pretty often. When did she stop doing that?
Maybe 17.
17.
So, I think so, yeah. You could tell me if I'm wrong. I remember it being.
I feel like that's appropriate.
I remember doing it. Here's the thing: when you guys were really the first generation to have cell phones, we did not have cell phones. And I was a mom blogger at the very beginning of when blogging started happening and digital world was really sort of coming alive, and what were the implications of it. But I wasn't sure what she was taking in from the outside world. And so every now and then, maybe every 6 months or so,
or 6 weeks.
It was not. It felt like that because you were younger. Time was different. Thank you very much.
That's what it's fist bump.
I also stepped to this line because there was another thing that I think she was getting at just with the blogging is there's still a lot, when you Google my name, there's still a lot of information about me as a child online, which.
What kind of information?
Just articles that she wrote, which is fine, but it's now when you Google my name and I'm 24, there's LA Times articles about me.
What,
and
like,
everything.
Is it not good information or like what?
One of them was not great. It was basically saying that I was a bitch when I was very young.
I feel like context is really missing from a lot.
I'm sorry, I need to get the context.
What exactly happened?
My writing was about my perspective on parenting and sharing that experience. And it was a really hard push and pull because it was my livelihood and it was also their lives. And at some point, you guys were, I probably want to say, by the time you reached middle school, I stopped doing it because I felt like the stories were no longer mine to tell. Like when they were younger and they're talking about a story about how all the balls are getting thrown up into the tree and I end up keep buying new basketballs, and they're like stories like that. And there were also stories about, I at that time was dating my now husband. We've been together for almost 18 years, my second husband. And so it was a lot of conversation about what it's like to be dating as a mom and how are my kids dealing with this person in my life. Yeah, exactly.
Talk after.
But there was also when she was really little, I was dealing with a lot of different things. You had some occupational therapy and you had physical therapy, and it was a lot. It was a lot for me, and I needed the outlet for it. So I wrote a lot of these stories, but they were always very intentionally from the perspective of how much I love my children, how I am trying so hard as a parent, how I'm trying to help them be great kids. And in one story, she has this little sister. Her sister followed her around everywhere, loved her, loved her, loved her. And Izzy didn't want anything to do with her. And it broke my heart because I'm a little sister. So I really connected with it. And I just lost it. And I feel so bad about it still to this day. But I wrote a story called My Daughter's a Bitch and It's Not My Fault. And she was 9.
Oh, and I said I wasn't gonna cry.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You okay, sweetie?
I know.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. It was a long time ago.
It was very much, I know, it hurt me too. And I go back and I look at it. And by the way, implication, what you write online stays with you forever.
Yeah.
And I recognized that was definitely the worst thing. I can feel the science in there. It was the worst thing I ever wrote, but it also, if you read it, I was really good at clickbait titles. So just know that was the title. But it was really about understanding and sympathizing a younger sister's view. And the final thing of my story was Izzy was beginning to come around, and that I noticed at the end of one night, you still weren't smiling. And so the end of it was, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make her smile. And
but it blew up.
No, it's just something that comes up when you Google my name. You might be able to find it. Honestly, we didn't in 2009. The internet was so different. I don't blame her at all. Obviously, our relationship is much better now, and my relationship with my sister is much better. I mean, I was 9, but it's just funny.
But it still follows you around. You're applying for jobs, you're doing things, and people remember your name.
We can't hire her. She was a bitch when she was 9.
She was a bitch when she was 9, but maybe they don't see the date, January 1st, 2009, and they're like, oh, that was 15 years ago. And I don't resent her at all for that. I don't love that it's still online when you Google my name.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. There's nothing. Are we allowed to? Are we allowed to leave this? It's okay. It's okay.
I find it hard to be 100% honest with you. Make your split decisions in 3, 2, 1. All right, go ahead and turn around. All right, I am calling y'all out. Parents and kids are 100% honest.
I don't need to tell her everything all the time, every thought that goes through my head, but if I wanted to, I could.
Do you feel safe enough with me?
Mostly, actually.
Are there things that you just don't feel comfortable sharing with your mom? I feel 100% safe sharing for whatever reason.
No, I think I've had to ease my parents into accepting me 100% for who I am, and so they're gonna hear about dates, and they're gonna hear that I slept over at someone's house sometimes, or last night I smoked weed in front of my mom, which I don't know if I've ever done, but it's just yeah, you're staying at my house and I smoke weed, so I'm gonna smoke. But that feels it's we're just kind of inching towards 100% honesty with those kinds of things. I came out to my parents about a year ago, and I was really nervous about their response. But again, I was like, this is my life, and you literally just got to deal with it, or you're not gonna be part of it. And that's just kind of how it goes. But I am kind of interested in my first girl, and I'm curious how my mom will handle that if I end up dating this girl. And
how do you think you would handle that if she dated a girl?
Well, if she dated a girl, she dates a girl. But I love the question I get from church people. Will you accept your kids if they ever come out? Will you still love them, or will you disown them? That's my favorite word, disown. Black people never think about owning people. So, bottom line is, that's my baby. I may disagree with her. I may not embrace everything that she does, but I embrace and I love my daughter. I came to terms with it, and I have to continue to come to terms with it, because it's step by step. I'm not gonna lie and say, oh, I'm fine with everything, because that's what we're forced into, an either or, and I refuse to do that. I am gray in a lot of areas, and when it comes to my children, I wanna discuss it more and more and more. I may never come around 100%. As long as she knows I'm still here for her 100%. And again, she is her own person. She's independent, makes her own decisions.
And you're okay with that?
If I had a magic wand, I think I would take the embracing, rather than, I feel like it's a little bit like hate the sin, love the sinner. And it's like, okay, sorry, I'm putting words in your mouth, I'm sorry. But that's a little of the energy I get, but it's like, oh, I'm not 100% cool with you being with a girl, but I'll still love you through it. Knowing that you're not 100% backed up kind of sucks, but also I am grateful that she's trying, and she's come a long, long way from when we were kids. If I had come out 15 years ago, this would be very different. So yeah, I'm good with it right now.
Heather, your Nectar profile says you are hypersexual.
Oh my God.
Wait, what? Hey, it's no big deal. I'm that way too. It's all good. You and me. It's good.
There are times I needed you, but didn't want to bother you. Make your split decisions in 3, 2, 1. All right, go ahead and turn around. Rachel, I'd love to start with you.
Yeah, I can't think of like a specific time, I guess, but I feel like you will do everything to come to my rescue and help me with whatever I need to do. And I know sometimes that like, even if it's like very difficult for you to do that, but I know you have a lot you're dealing with in your own life, in your own space. And so I try to solve my problems on my own when I can, and then lean on you when it's too much for me to kind of hold. She's so strong. Like, this woman is a badass, and she runs her own company. She has all these like employees that she's bossing around and just like running the world. So of course there's a lot of like I want to be that too, and I want to show you that I can be that too. And ooh, I'm getting emotional. And whew.
But baby girl, it's okay to be vulnerable and ask for help and all of that other stuff. So, and in some ways it makes me feel sad if the role model, if the interpretation of a strong woman role model is that then you can't be soft and vulnerable, then we're doing something wrong. And so let's all please make a pact that just because we all have our strengths and we can all be these badass people, we still get a pass at, man, having bad days and needing help from each other and calling. So,
and I think it's like me learning where my limit is and learning like, okay, maybe I shouldn't wait to get to that limit to calling you and reaching out.
Is it because you don't want to be a burden, or you don't want to?
I think it's more like I want to know that I can do it on my own and that I can solve it on my own. The burden part, I don't think in that aspect, like I don't think I feel like a burden to you as much. If there's anything related to a burden, it's probably like I try to pay for my own things because I don't want you to have to hold the burden for paying for school for me or for car insurance or phone bills or stuff. Like, she does pay for some stuff for me still, and I'm like so appreciative of that. But I also tried to like kind of take on that financial independence on my own as early as I could, as again, like another kind of sign of respect for like what you have done to raise me. So yeah, I definitely get to my limits, and I'm still learning where those limits are for sure. And I'm always appreciative when you're there to help me through it, so.
So cute. Heather, your mother is on yes. Do you know why?
I think I do. Yeah, my mom is recently in therapy. Can I share that?
Yes.
Too late.
Just
Everybody knows.
I couldn't. Well, okay, but I
It's on the YouTube, so it's out.
I am also in therapy, and I think for years, like once I started learning about myself, I started to see the signs in my mom that like something wasn't right. Just growing up, just something was a little off with how we handled conflicts mostly, and I just knew like there was something, and I wanted her to go so badly to figure that out. But until she went, I think she didn't know who to turn to. She didn't want to put that on her kids, so we didn't understand where it was coming from. We just experienced the brunt of it, and it was confusing, but she has told us time and time again she doesn't want to bother us.
The brunt of it.
We didn't handle conflict well. We were a little explosive growing up, and we're all getting better. We've all worked on it. It was loud. When we were angry, we got loud, like the whole family. And yeah, I've worked on it, she's worked on it, but it was just like, okay, this is coming from somewhere, but no one really knew where, and it was confusing.
Mm-hmm. Is that what you were standing on yes for?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And I still don't share a lot. But since she talked me into going to therapy, it's been awesome to talk to someone that's completely unattached. And because in the Black culture, and I'm speaking generally, I don't know if everybody does it, but most Black families have a strong pecking order. And who's at the top, you don't mess with them. You don't talk about them. You don't call them names behind their backs. You don't talk about your mom to your best friend. You don't say that stuff. And you certainly don't talk to your children about your parents or growing up. You just don't do that. So it's a strong tie on me in the Black culture where you just do not do that. And so she's talked me into going out and finding somebody to talk to.
Izzy, do you know why your mother's on yes?
No, I actually am very curious to hear this. This is a shock.
You know, this is the price I have to pay for not feeling responsible for her happiness and not wanting her to be responsible for my happiness. So I'm standing here because there's no such thing as black and white, and there's no right decision, there's no wrong decision, there's only consequences to your actions. And this is the consequence, is that if I share everything with you, that's a lot to carry.
I love this woman.
I know, y'all are similar.
I absolutely love her.
That's right, I think.
You and me, girl.
Best friends after this.
That's right.
I actually have a question because it sounds like some of you have been through divorces or
In the process.
in the process, even better. So this has been something that was very difficult between my daughter and I. Again, my daughter, best friend, love her. She's so smart. She was a witness to my marriage. So who better to help me through that? And yet I felt that conflict of, is this the right thing to talk about with my daughter? Do I burden her with this big decision about a divorce, knowing like we have these different relationships? It's her father, she loves her father, she's my best friend, I need her, I know that her voice will bring me a lot of wisdom. And I handled it in a certain way. Don't know if it was the right or the wrong way, but I would be very interested to know how you guys go through that. Like, do you bring your daughters into, when you went through a divorce or when you're going through a divorce, do you use them as counsel?
I lied to her at first. Actually, that's what I lied to them about when I was leaving their dad.
Oh, yeah.
You lied to her.
I lied to my children when I left my husband. And I told them we were going to go on a vacation and visit their favorite cousins, and that we was going to be for the entire summer, so they should pack all of their favorite things. And then I left their dad.
And you took the kids?
And I took my children. And that was 2010, and we moved into a hotel.
How old were they?
Taya, it was pretty devastating for her too. I think you were 10 or 11. You were gonna go.
Yeah, I think I was 10.
It was right after 5th grade, going into 6th grade.
Right.
Wow.
What was that like for you?
I think something in me knew, because I'm like a little bit older, but I still was like in a little bit of denial, and I was like, okay, cool, we're gonna go hang out with my cousins for the summer. We do that all the time. Like, we always come up to LA and hang out with family. But when I realized that it had happened, I was like, dang, like, so summer's about to end, which means I'm gonna have to make all new friends. Yikes. And I'm like this tiny little brown girl with a gap at the time because I didn't have braces, wearing Birkenstocks and talking crazy, like, because I'm from Oregon, and these people are gonna make fun of me, like, oh, this is gonna be great. And I think it was devastating because I didn't know like when we were gonna see my dad again.
Were you close with him?
Oh yeah, besties. Besties. And it was also really confusing for me because my mom is like the type to, like, she'll never say anything bad about my dad, like, because they're also best friends. They were, you know what I mean? And so I love that because I don't have to deal with like having to choose sides or like feel like I'm hearing negative things about someone who I love and put on a pedestal just as much as her. But it was confusing for me because I was like, okay, so we left him for good so it seems. I'm about to start 6th grade. But you have nothing bad to say about him, at least to us. So I was confused, I was hurt, I was scared to make all new friends, but I knew that at the end of the day, like, I needed to stand by you and empower you to feel like you made the right decision, because I also didn't want you to have to like regret putting you first.
It was a really bad relationship.
Yeah.
My ex was a really, really bad partner, but an amazing father. And so I had to give my children the space to love us both, and then try to explain to little children that it was okay and that we both loved them, but we couldn't love each other anymore. It was a very unsafe place for me that my daughter sometimes had to rescue me from, and it was pretty painful to decide. I thought I was doing the right thing.
She had to rescue you.
My husband beat me very bad, almost to death one time, and the only thing that saved me was on Taya's cell phone. She called 911.
Oh.
And that's when I knew I needed to make a change.
Wow.
But I thought I was doing the right thing. I wanted to give my children a 2-parent home. I wanted them to grow up with their mom and their dad. So when it was time to go, I just didn't want to cause them any more pain. So I called my cousin, and she said, come to LA, we'll figure it out. And I packed up my babies, and we stayed in a hotel for 9 months, and they thought it was the coolest thing ever, like Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
Life of Zach and Cody.
Riding around on the little trolley thing.
Who knew? Who knew?
Next is
you know? But I didn't want to cause them any more pain, and their dad is still a phenomenal person to them. We've moved through that. And about 7 years later, we learned he was actually diagnosed with schizophrenia, and a lot of things started to make sense. I'm definitely super honest with him now. If you're going through that, I say be honest with them. At this age, it's the appropriate age.
It goes back to the other question as far as how much do you share, you know, was that the question?
Who knows what the original
that was a long time ago. But yeah, just not burdening her or the other kids with what my husband and I are going through. And I want them to continue to love their dad.
Bingo.
I don't want anybody to pick sides. That's not what it's about. So my movement was definitely make sure they continue to love their dad. And their dad and I have decided we're going to move through this thing, continue as a family, and we have.
You have a bad habit that worries me. In 3, 2, 1. Okay, go ahead and turn around. I love that all the mothers are like, yep, got some bad habits. Okay, but let's start with the one daughter that is on yes.
I think you get really into diet culture, and it's good most of the time, I think. I mean, you're super healthy, super fit, but sometimes I worry that it's, you know, not as good on your own, like, body positivity.
Well, even though I would love to get on Ozempic, there's no doctor that would prescribe it, so you are correct. Like, I am always looking for the latest fad.
All right. Heather, you moved to yes, by the way. Yeah, she does have
When I heard diet culture, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What? I mean, I get on you about this. I feel like we just talk about bodies too much and like what's wrong here and all that. And I would like you just to love yourself now, you know? Not when something changes.
You have defined the way I see the world. 3, 2, 1. Okay, go ahead and turn around.
You've shown me how much of a badass a woman can be in the world and how to hold yourself as that kind of amazing woman. And that definitely from a young age, like, helped shape the way I approach the world and the way that I tried to live my life and hold myself.
Thank you for that, baby.
I mean, you made me a mother. So it changed how I define family, and it changed how I understand love. And that has changed everything about my life.
To live in a great world, like I do, is to not allow anyone to define your world, but rather, you let a lot of people define your world. Because for you to define your own world is completely selfish. And so, no, you have not defined it, you've expanded it.
Feels like it would be a lot of pressure to be your like life definition, I think. And you've massively influenced my life. I think that's impossible for you to be my mom and not have shaped me hugely. But yeah, I'm defined by my mom, my dad, my brothers, all my friends, my experiences, my breakups, all of that has defined me. My dog.
She's not kidding.
Especially Rocky.
She's not kidding.
Thank you all so much. Unfortunately, that is all we have time for. So from the bottom of my heart and everyone watching right now, thank you for your honesty, your authenticity, and your vulnerability today. And I think a hug is in order. Can you please get together? Love is real. Thank you for watching this episode of Split Decision. Be sure to check out our next episode, Friends with Benefits. Are these couples really just friends, or is someone hiding their true feelings? This one's sure to be super sexy. Check it out.